So we're going to be doing a review. We have a DEWALT angle grinder, DWM T70782L. I'm a huge fan of DEWALT. If you watch any of my videos, it's a brand bias. I know there's other better tools, price, whatever. I like DEWALT. We'll just leave it at that. If you like other brands, by all means, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of other brands after we get through the review. We're also going to be doing a DEWALT die grinder, DWM T70783. I'm hoping to be able to put a cutting wheel on this. I know that's not safe because of the guard not designed, but I don't care. If that doesn't work out, we'll end up putting carbide die grinder bits on there, and I think that will probably work out the best. We'll see how that turns out. So we're going to go ahead and get these opened up and take a look at them. Oh, that's cute. It comes with a little tiny bottle of oil. Well, I've got to say, I'm already pleasantly surprised. So we've got the desiccant package, that's trash, along with the instructions. This tool comes with an air fitting, which a lot of air tools do not. So that's kind of nice. I happen to have a bunch of air fittings, but it's unusual for most air tools to come with that air fitting. So this comes with it, so we'll be able to install that. And it also comes with the wrenches to put in the bits. So we'll get those opened up. Okay, first impressions. It looks nice. It feels nice. It's pretty short. You can see my hand is kind of off the bottom here. So, I mean, we'll have this installed and the air hose there. I think that the shortness may be beneficial in the long run. My current one that's kind of worn out is a lot longer than this, the motor is. So hopefully that'll be a benefit to us. We'll take a turn on that and see what we think. I'm probably going to just go ahead and put a die bit in here for now and go from there. So we'll get some thread tape and put it on there momentarily. So let's set that over here to the side and go ahead and open up this die grinder. It has some sort of anti-theft device clamped on the bottom. That's weird. The motor is basically the exact same motor that is on the die grinder, which is fine. This just happens to have a 90-degree head on it. It does have the grease fitting, very important. But beyond that, it's built exactly the same way. The tool bits. Now, on this tool specifically, I intend on using this arbor. So this is an arbor for sanding discs. So we'll grab a couple of wrenches and we'll get this installed. We do need to get this ridiculous safety device or theft device off here without chopping our fingers off, so it looks like we can. So I've gone ahead and installed the air fitting on both tools. I've also put the arbor in the 90-degree burr motor and a carbide burr tip in the straight die grinder. We're going to go ahead and throw a little bit of oil in each one. We'll just use the oil that they came with. One other thing I want to talk about real quick as far as greasing and oiling goes. This straight burr motor does not have a gearbox on the head like this 90-degree die grinder does. And this little button right here, what looks like a little button, this is actually a button grease fitting. And it takes this style of grease gun. See the link in the description. So this has white lithium grease inside of it. If you're very careful with this, you don't get it everywhere, but if you're not, you do. And this little tip goes right inside of that little hole and greases the housing. The gear is internally. I'm going to put 2 pumps in there just to see how this works. This should be greased right from the factory, but we're going to put 2 pumps in there just for the purposes of giving you guys a little demo here. So this grease gun pushes down on that little dimple. So I'm going to push pretty hard to keep this thing sealed up to make sure it goes where it belongs. Yeah, so that thing's full. I'm assuming it's full. So it's not going to take any grease, but the grease in here comes out through the front and wears into the housing a little bit over time. So you need to keep up on keeping that thing greased. I didn't in the past, and this is part of the reason that my previous die grinder wore out. I didn't keep this housing greased. Heads up, take a look at the link in the description for the grease gun. White lithium grease is what I put in there. And yeah, it's good to keep on hand. A couple other things I want to kind of go over. We're gonna light these off with the air tools, and I'm gonna give you the decibel reading of each one of these. The only comparison I have is to the tools that I'm replacing, which in the case of this DEWALT 90-degree die grinder, I'm replacing this Husky 90-degree die grinder. But I want to point out, and it's probably impossible to see, but I actually cracked this housing. See that crack? So the internal threads in here were actually had backed out and come out of the tool. It had a potential to be pretty dangerous. If something would have broke off of this thing, it could have hit me or hurt me or blown apart. I'm going to go ahead and take off the arbor and the air fitting and save those, but this is going to get thrown away. This is basically trash at this point. But because I was upgrading to a DEWALT 90-degree die grinder, I went ahead and bought a straight die grinder. And this die grinder is replacing this die grinder. This is a, I don't even know, rated air pressure, air die grinder made in China. I think this was probably a Harbor Freight special, but I can't even find a name brand on here, so that should tell you something. But when you need this, you really need this, or I've found at least. I've really needed it. I have a polishing stone on here right now, so I clearly was using it to polish off some weld, I would imagine, not too long ago. This is sort of a bulky straight die grinder. You can see the length difference here from air tip to air tip. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and plug the air in and do a comparison. We're going to see how loud this one is versus the old tool. The only complaint I saw online about these was how loud they were in comparison to the tool that they were replacing. Almost everybody said they were significantly louder, so I want to understand what significantly louder really means. I'm going to go ahead and do a baseline with the old tool and then run the new tool and see what the difference is. So I'm comfortable saying that this tool is about 103 to 104 decibels. So I'm comfortable saying that's about 113 to 114 decibels. All right, we're going to test the old die grinder. I think that's right about 113, 114 decibels. Those two are about the same. So they're about 113, 114 decibels each. It does appear to me that there is a large difference in sound between this and this, and I suspect that has something to do with the size of the air motor inside. The larger the vanes, the less air it takes to spin it with any kind of torque. I always use these earplugs no matter what. So one other thing I want to talk about real quick are the wrenches. These wrenches come with the tool, and I grabbed a piece of black paracord that I keep this stuff lying around the shop, and then I tied them on. It keeps the wrenches together. It makes it easier to keep track of, and you always have both of them together. Definitely tie them together. It may save you a lot of hassle in the long run. So what do I think? I've got a few minutes of use under my belt with these die grinders. I've got the 90-degree die grinder here and the straight here. I used the carbide bit. It worked really well. It feels pretty good in your hand. This one, the same thing. The size of the tool itself, the diameter, it feels pretty dang good in your hand. It feels pretty good. The same thing with this. The size of it is pretty nice. Feels good in your hand. I can't say that I think it's any better than any other specific brand. I mean, I had a Husky and then an unnamed brand for the straight die grinder, but it definitely works. I'm a fan of DEWALT just because I am. I have a lot of DEWALT stuff, and this hasn't let me down in any way at all. Pretty happy with these overall. I'm glad they came with the air fittings where most air tools don't. They also came with the wrenches for adjusting them. Those wrenches seem a little better built than other ones I've dealt with in the past, so we'll see how they hold up. The angle die grinder works really well. I definitely was able to utilize it for those small bolts like you saw, and then clean everything up with the wire wheel when I was done with that. Keeping the head greased is definitely a must. There's gears in here, and that grease does wear out over time, and you need to keep it greased up. It'll definitely increase the longevity of the tool. Overall, pretty happy with it. I can't say that much better than any other one out there, but they're good for what they are, and they're good for the price. So check out the link in the description. That'll be down below. I'll also have the link for the grease gun for the head. That's a definitely handy little tool, even for greasing other small items, not just this type of Zerk, or I don't know, the button grease fitting, I think is what that is. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you got something out of this one. Definitely hit that subscribe button. It always helps out in the long run. Check out some of these tool reviews, and I'll have the garage series down there also. Until next time, thanks for watching.